I wanted to show you guys a little bit of BTS. I am a freelancer. I wanted to use this platform to give you like little tips and tricks that I learned along the way and just put you guys on to the real stuff that goes on behind the scenes, because a lot of people don't even really talk about it really like that in depth. I think it's really important because when I first started out doing this, I didn't know how to do it the right way. I was figuring it out as I went. I think I probably could have saved myself from a few different situations if there were more people, because I won't say that there's nobody talking about it, but maybe it's just not as accessible. So if there were more people talking about it, then I would have been more educated and I wouldn't have gotten screwed more or less in some of the situations that I have, some of the projects that I've taken on in the past. So with that being said, we're gonna go behind the brand. Shout out to Visionary Media. That is my LLC that I operate under as a contractor, that I contract people out from. This is so exciting. Wow, I've never even talked about the fact that I'm a business owner like in front of anybody, really. I've just been doing the work, to be honest with you. This is a little weird, not gonna lie. But like I said, I offer content creation services. So that's anywhere from capturing video to editing video to just creating ideas for the person that I'm working with, capturing their vision for how they want their brand to come across on social media, because that is my specialization. And then taking my expertise and the things that I've learned over time to package it in this really high quality, cohesive material that can be used for digital marketing. The whole concept is to build up small businesses and then leveraging their business on digital platforms so that they can increase their client base, their revenue, and then pay me more because I'm doing such a good job. So yeah, usually people come to me when they are struggling, whether it be retention or just leads in general, obtaining them, not having some type of system funnel to keep them kind of like in the loop of what's going on with their processes, how to become a customer rather than just like sitting there and looking at a nice cool post. So yeah, I could go on and on for days about exactly what it is that I do, but I feel like I gave you guys a pretty good idea. While I'm talking about this right now, I'm trying to make it sound digestible and not boring, because normally when people talk about digital marketing, it's a whole bunch of jargon that is so unnecessary in my opinion, and it can be overwhelming, and I try to just like simplify it as much as possible. So hopefully that gave you guys a good understanding and it wasn't too complicated. But now onto the fun side. So there are projects that I do get that are still helping business owners, but in different ways. For example, last year, I shot a recital pre-show, so to speak, for a dance company. They weren't trying to solve a problem. They just wanted to create a form of entertainment before their annual dance recital. And so they usually have their recital in this big auditorium with a big LED wall. So they wanted a video to just show on the screen before the girls came on to dance on the stage. That is. I was reached out to, I was like, yeah, I could totally do this. And we had our little pre-production meeting where she told me her vision, and I was like, I could totally make that happen. And then we scheduled a shoot date either later on that same week or the following week. I can't remember. I'm pretty sure they hired me like right before their recital. Like it was kind of like a last minute thing, if I'm being honest with you. I pushed to make it happen. In one day I shot way more than I needed. And then I just went home and I kind of just like chopped it up. It was super fun. While we're on it, I might as well just play it for you guys.
In a world where sequins outshine the stars and pliés are a way of life, Miss Colleen's Elite Dance Center stands on the precipice of their greatest challenge yet, the annual recital. Meet the Squad, a troupe of toe-tapping tornadoes who have pirouetted past bedtimes and arabesque through algebra homework.
Barry, Miss Barry, I need the jazz wine costume. Miss Barry, I think I found it. Talk about drama.
Witness the drama as costumes are bedazzled to the brink of blinding.
Where are we gonna put them all? I'm usually drowning in costumes by mid-October.
And dance is literally #life.
We love dance at Miss Colleen's. Right, girls?
Right!
So much so that when dancers need to refuel, Grubhub knows their order better than their moms do.
Let's talk about Grubhub at Miss Colleen's Elite Dance Center. It comes starting around 4:15 and doesn't stop until 8 o'clock. Brings food for everybody, just not me.
A few deliveries later,
Finally, Grubhub did not arrive, but Miss Liz to the rescue.
with hearts pounding and hairsprays choking, these dancers have trained tirelessly, perfecting the art of synchronized sparkle. That's no easy feat.
I love all my babies. I love the way they dance. I love the way they shake their high knees. I love coming in and creating excitement in the classroom. They're so stinking cute. I seriously want to put them on like a popsicle and sell them. They're so cute.
I couldn't agree more. Let's shift gears to the big leagues where the showstoppers are polishing their routines.
Girls! Come on, the show is about to start.
This summer, preparation is everything,
And don't forget to kill the lights.
and every dancer knows the spotlight waits for no one.
So then obviously after the big boom, all the lights would turn off and then the girls would go up on stage and start their dance routine. And their first dance just so happens to be the last song, the instrumental that you heard in the video. Very intentional, very entertaining, a little bit comedic type of vibe. It was one of my favorite projects to shoot by far, mostly because I wasn't solving a problem. I think because I got to just entertain, use my own dry humor to entertain like a random audience, and like the feedback that the owner gave me is that the audience loved it. Everybody was laughing, everybody was engaged. All of the kids were reciting the lines because I guess they have like multiple show dates and times and stuff. So by the end of it, all the kids were like reciting the lines, and that really, like, stuff like that really, really, really warms my heart. Because the art of being a creative is taking something that exists up here and then manifesting it into something that is tangible and real, and then it's serving a whole group of people that I've never even met before, and all of them will never even know that it was mine, but that's okay because they don't have to know that it came from me. They don't. Just the fact that I'm able to live in my purpose for me is enough with all that sappy stuff. The point of me telling you all of this was because they reached out to me again to do the recital this year. And I'm so excited because they hit me up 2 months early, legit. So we have a lot more time to massage it than we did last time. Like, I'm already so much more prepared than I was for the last one. Now, don't get me wrong. The last one I executed seamlessly, to be honest with you. And I just did it with myself. I didn't contract any second shooters or any editors or anybody. It was literally just me. At the time, I was cramming so hard because I had multiple projects going on at one time. While I am blessed and grateful for that opportunity to even be able to complain about that, it was stressful. And this goes back to before when I was telling you guys, being a creative can have its highs and its lows, and that was definitely a high in a good sense. It's like being so busy that you're behind on your deadlines and you have to like kind of rush things, and it happens, but we turned the video in well before the show was even a thing. I think it was just a matter of just putting preparations in place. If there were revisions, I kind of had this subtle flex about me that when it comes to my process, I pride myself on having very little to no revisions from my clients, because I really take the time during like the pre-production and even like the production and post-production to be intentional about what my client wants, what they tell me that they want, so that I can really kind of like hit it on the mark. If I turn in the draft and they're like, this is perfect, or I just need you to change one or two things, it's just like very minor things like spelling mistakes or what have you. So this client in particular just so happened to have 0 revisions, and I'm gonna show you guys just in case you think I'm making this up. So I sent the draft up here, and then she said, "Hi, We love this. It's hilarious. And then below that, I think she was trying to correct a line in there that didn't quite make sense to her, but then I explained it to her and then it made sense to her. So ultimately, there were no revisions for this video. And again, that's something that I try to pride myself on. So today I'm gonna show you guys, I say all of that to say, today I'm gonna show you guys behind the scenes on my process when it comes to working on a project for a new client. First things first. Boom, I got the hit up from the person who is, you know, coordinating this whole project with me, March 11th, okay? So she's like, hi, we were wondering if you were interested in doing this year's video again for us. And I respond as soon as I can, and I'm like, oh my God, yes, I would love that. Thank you so much for considering me again. Like, I really appreciate this. Once we have confirmed that we're available and ready to do the project and we have interest in it, we set up a pre-production meeting. So if y'all don't know what a pre-production meeting is, I'm gonna tell you what it is, and I'm gonna tell you why it's so extremely important, okay? I'm gonna let you know a little bonus about pre-production meetings that you can add on to the invoice at the end. A pre-production meeting is a meeting that you have before the shoot date to get on the same page with the client. So it could be something as simple as a Zoom call, or it could be something as thoughtful as an in-person meeting. Bottom line is, you are meeting with this client so that you can essentially learn what their plan is, what the purpose for the project is, learn about any ideas that they may have, and then you can give like your feedback or your contribution onto their ideas. You can give your professional input, you can ask your questions, things that you might need to know in order to facilitate the project. That's your time to really just fine-tune all of the details, all right? And the reason why this is so important is because a lot of creatives, I have heard, a lot of creatives who are in the realm of what I do, whether you're a videographer, a photographer, or just an editor, or what have you, a lot of people skip this step. And I'm not really sure why, because like I was saying before, this is something that you can charge for later on in the invoice. You can charge people for your time. You can essentially charge people for your process. The way that I try to explain it to people is, if I don't take the time to do this, your project, like the outcome, will not be as great, to be completely honest. And I just put it on the table, like if it comes up, if it's questioned, because a lot of people like to see the invoice itemized and stuff like that, and so they might say, well, what's this, even though it's clearly spelled out. And maybe I can show you guys my invoice breakdown from last year if I'm feeling transparent today, which I technically should, because there's not enough people doing this. But even though it's clearly spelled out on the invoice, sometimes they might have questions, and so you explain like, listen, this is just a part of my process to give you the best product as possible. So literally, it's just time out of your schedule, which you should do this for every single thing that you do, especially as an entrepreneur, because that's what you are, right? You're somebody who has the privilege of being able to create your own schedule. You are an entrepreneur. You should be able to, you know, coordinate things and have a flexible schedule, especially for a new client that is paying you, right? So last year I did an in-person meeting with the client because it's my first time meeting them. We needed to do a vibe check. Personally, I like to do vibe checks because my process is very intimate. Most times it's somebody that I know or a referral. So I need to feel the vibes the first time around. I need to talk to you in person, feel the energy. I need you to feel my energy so that you can feel comfortable and safe, and so I can observe your personality. I can observe the type of things that you would and would not care for. I could just get to know you as a person and build that relationship for client retention, right? Obviously, from last year to now I have a relationship with the client, so we were actually able to do a Zoom meeting this time, which was really cool because it was nice and brief but straight to the point. So as soon as we got on the call, we started talking about the ideas. This is what I had in mind for this year, and this is the theme, and this is what the kids have dealt with, and this is what I have been through, and I just kind of want to just melt it all together into one, and that's where you come in. And I was like, great. I asked my questions that I had to ask just to help make it come together and make sense for me. Let's be real, like when you're articulating an idea to somebody, especially like if it's like fresh off the dome, it's like sometimes it could be hit or miss for them to really conceptualize the idea the way that you see it in your head. So that's another reason why the pre-production process is just so important, because yeah, you just have to be able to do that, and you have to be able to internalize it the way that the client does in order to create that cohesion. One of my favorite things about what I do is it's almost as if I am my clients, except I'm just bringing my skill set into the equation and allowing them to create the things that they want to create. I'm just like a vessel. Like, here you go, just use me and I will do whatever it is that you saw in your head. That's an art form. To be honest with you, it's pretty crazy. So I want to show you guys the notes that I took for this and the notes that you would take for something like this, just to give you a better idea of what that actually looks like. I did this on my phone, okay? Or my iPad, actually, because I like to write notes on my iPad. So I don't want you to think it's this big grandiose thing. Like, you don't have to do a whole Word spreadsheet. This is not even a spreadsheet, but you know what I'm saying, a Word document. Like, you don't have to. It can be super casual. But because I like to be very detail-oriented and organized when I work with clients, and I like transparency, this is what I created for the client, because I actually ended up sending this to the client. But let me show you what it actually looks like in my notes. It's literally the craziest chicken scratch you've ever seen in your life. And if you don't say that's chicken scratch, then you lying. I literally just jotted things down randomly, like as we were talking, and then I just made sense of it after. And so this is the outcome. So at the top I have what the concept is. I have context, a little bit of context to help me understand the concept. It's a lot of C words. I'm getting confused now. Start from the top. All right, we have the concept at the top. Then we have the context below that to help me understand the concept. And then under that, we have the vibe so that I can get it just right. And then below that, we have the characters that we will be reenacting. And then we have the takeaway, because I want the audience to walk away with a why. And you should want to do that in everything that you do, everything that you create. And then I have themes and then wardrobe. So these are just my notes from the pre-production meeting. And it was no more than like 30 minutes. But guess what? At the end of the meeting, I'm asking the coordinator, I'm like, okay, so do you guys have a date in mind that you would like to shoot this? I happen to be in town on these dates. Does this work for you? Are there other dates? And then she's able to tell me, oh, we actually have like a competition this week and we have spring break that week. And so we're able to share that dialogue. And I'm like, well, you know what? How does this sound? Why don't I create a script outline for you based on everything that we talked about today, so that you can then take that and figure out the scheduling. And then you can get back to me with the dates. And just like that, so I just got so excited. I'm speaking in tongues. Just that right there in itself is something that I appreciate so much. And I feel like that right there is so slept on. The ability to be able to work with the client, even if it's not the client themselves, because a lot of business owners are busy. They're running a business, okay? I don't ever have an expectation for the business owner to stop what they're doing and give me what I need so that I can do the job that they've hired me for. In no world do I have that expectation. Honestly, the only time I have that expectation is when they don't have proper structure and team in place to be able to facilitate that. But when the business is businessing, there's a team. Period. That's one of the things that I have learned on my journey. It's cool to take the jobs that are given to you when you're starting up and they're paying, so you're doing them. But then it's another to intentionally choose and continue to choose the businesses that have structure. You'll thank me later. You will stress yourself out begging for meetings with the CEO and begging for clarity and details and just to do your job. And sometimes you don't even get them and it hinders you from doing your job. But then it falls back on you and it makes you look bad, like you don't know what you're doing, or you're not doing what you're doing to the best of your ability. And it's like, it needs to be some type of collaboration. Point blank, period. It does. If I'm supposed to be creating your vision that you have in your head and making it real, it needs to be some type of collaboration, like it does. It just does. That leads me to my next point. What I'm about to show you is the script outline that I created for the client. You know what this is, you guys? This is the video on a piece of paper. I have simplified my workload immensely by just taking the time out for the pre-production. This literally gives me every scene. This gives me every voiceover. This gives me every type of stock music that I need to look for. This gives me every shot. And this gives me the structure and the order for things. Literally from beginning to end, and it even gives me the props list so that my client knows what they need to have. It literally gives the editor a sense of what is to be done, and in this scenario, I am the editor. This is everything. Dear fellow creative, I urge you to take the time and invest it in the pre-production process and then charge it onto the invoice whenever you are starting a new project, because you will thank yourself in the end. If you don't, you'll be trying to figure it out as you go, and it'll just be chaos. I was gonna give you guys a behind the scenes on how I create my outlines, but I think I might wait to share that tea. But I have streamlined my process to make it seamless and almost dummy proof. The goal when I was in New York was to duplicate myself. Well, it was to hire and train. It just didn't work out that way, because a lot of people do things differently, especially when you're working with people that have been doing what they have been doing for a certain amount of time. They're not willing to learn. They're not willing to do it your way. That was something that I learned, honestly, relatively slow. So I have my process and it works for me and it makes my life simple. And one day when I'm ready to scale, if this is my long-term bread and butter, then this is a very, 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 very crucial part in that scaling process, because I'll essentially be able to teach whoever I've hired, just like I'm teaching you guys, what to do for the pre-production. And they'll be able to do that for me. I won't have to take as many meetings. I won't have to outline as many things. I can hire a production assistant and they can literally do that part for me. And now all I have to do is look at it and do what I do from there, you know? So that's the goal long term. But for right now, it is me. The end. So I have sent that to the client, and right now I'm just waiting on a response as far as when we'll actually be shooting this, now that I have done all of my part. The recital is in May, it's at the end of May, so I do have, like I said, a lot more time than I did last year. I think last year I just had like 2 weeks, if that. Really excited to be working on a fun project in the midst of the more like helping projects. It just provides a really nice balance. We're working again. I'm so excited. I had to take 5 months off, and that is not typical for me. It's typical for me to just stay busy because I'm really focused on building the brand right now, and I know in order to do that I have to have my hand in like as many pots as possible at one time. Like at one point I was a live stream director on the weekends. I was a social media manager / marketer and content creator for like 3 different wedding companies at one time. Then I was just taking miscellaneous side projects on top of that, i.e. this recital video from last year. I also had a few branding projects. I did like a whole logo and creative suite for a person with a brand guide and everything, literally all over the place. But that's what I was used to, because I'm like, yo, this is the grind. Like, this is what I want to do. I gotta do it, you know? So not working for 5 months has been extremely difficult for me and very uncomfortable. I've kind of just learned to embrace it, kind of. And it's so funny because now I'm back to work. I probably won't be taking on as many things at once like that again. I'm gonna do it in a way that's healthy for me and that is more balanced for me, because I'm also like shifting my life and focusing on new and different things, as well as being a business owner, brand owner. So that's the next chapter for me that I am looking forward to. I'm just grateful to be working again, to be honest with you. Like this season was a toughie, but it's up from here. So God is good. Make sure y'all thank him today if you haven't already.